Alright, hello world. I'm going to be air layering this camellia branch. I'm going to show you the process that I've used about 500 times over the past 4 years. Actually more than that. I've done another 148 so far in 2012, so I'm up to about 650 so far. About a 90% success rate, so I'm just going to show you the process that I use. Now, air layering, if you're not familiar with what it does, it's going to basically make a new plant out of this branch. And we're going to start, I'll explain as we go along. You're going to scrape a section of bark off from completely around the branch. Take a sharp pocket knife, score the limb all the way around, and scrape off the bark in between. And you want to make sure that you get the outer layer of brown bark as well as the green layer underneath. Make sure you get all the bark off, because the plant, in response to having been wounded like this, the plant is going to send out roots into the moss that we're going to wrap around this branch. Sphagnum moss, S-P-H-A-G-N-U-M, sphagnum, I believe is the pronunciation, moss. And that's what's going to make your new root ball. It takes about 6 months, at least the way I've done it in the past. Again, this is the 5th year that I've done it. Make sure you've got everything off, all the way down to the hardwood, the whitewood, all the way around. Alright, now the sphagnum moss, you want to soak it in a 5-gallon bucket for at least 2 hours so that it soaks up as much water as possible. Dip your finger into water. This is what I do anyway. This is just a process that I've used and I've been successful with. If you dip your finger into water and get the branch wet, then the rooting hormone, Schultz Take Root rooting hormone, small paintbrush, you can apply the rooting hormone, and with the branch being wet it sticks better. Now take about a softball size ball of sphagnum moss, and again, it's not just plain peat moss. I believe it's a variety of peat moss, but it's sphagnum, S-P-H-A-G-N-U-M. It's a fibered moss. Squeeze out as much water as you can and break it apart. Create a valley or a V in the middle of the moss. Pull out any sticks that you feel that may poke a hole through the plastic. Now we're going to wrap that around the branch where we wounded it. Try to get it as evenly as possible around the branch. Now we're going to take plastic sheeting. This is 1 mil thick plastic sheeting that I've cut into 12 by 18 inch size. Wrap that around the moss and then twist it down tightly. If you pull on the branch a little bit against the moss, that holds it on there and keeps it from sliding. Wrap it down tight. Now, if you have electrical tape, it helps to have that handy. Have it already started, because you don't have a third hand to get the tape started while you're doing this. Put it on, wrap it in the same direction that you had twisted the plastic, so you're not working against what you've already done. my razor blade ready. Single edge razor blade. Use that to cut the tape and get your tape started again. Wrap the other end. Again, wrap in the same direction that you twisted the plastic. Get it real tight. Get it real tight against the branch, because you don't want any rainwater getting in between the branch and the plastic. You don't want the roots, or what will be the root ball, to get saturated with water. Now I'm going to put one more piece of tape across the seam so that it doesn't come undone. I'm going to write number 553 on this, because when I come back in 6 months and transfer this plant to a pot, to 1 gallon pot, I'll transfer this number 553 to the pot. I'll also, when I'm finished filming, I'll take a picture of this flower next to 553, so that I know that in pot 553 that's the bloom I have. Get the tape started again. We're going to need it in a minute with tin foil. Take a piece of tin foil, wrap that around. An added layer of protection for the moss. Keeps it from getting too hot, keeps it from drying out. Make sure to wrap that tight around the top and the bottom. And I won't do anything with these for 6 months. Today's March 9th, 2012. I'll come back in 6 months in early September and cut this off the plant, and I will have a root ball formed in here, and I'll have a new plant. Cut it off down below, put it in a 1 gallon pot, and again I'll transfer that number 553 to this to the pot, so I know what bloom I have. In case I give this plant away or I want to plant it somewhere, I'll know what color I have. And that's it. This is certainly nothing new. It's just my particular way of doing it. It's a method I've had a lot of success with, and I just thought I would show everyone how I do it. And this one was a little bit hard to get to, but you can take, I took a branch, hold on, let me show you. I took a branch to hold this mature plant over. In fact, I'll let it go now. And this plant, because otherwise I wouldn't have been able to reach that particular branch. So you can bend a mature plant over, or a branch over, to get to one that's a little more difficult to reach, because that's just a particular variety of camellia that I wanted. Over here is a couple of examples of easy ones to get to that already have a nice shape. Little shoots coming off this mature branch, but that's it. I've had a lot of success doing it this way. I have about 450 camellias in pots. I have hundreds of camellias in my yard, any color, variety, and shape you can imagine. So if you try this process, I hope it works for you, and good luck, and peace out from Georgia.